Heartwarming 10-day honeymoon reveals incredible truth she'd never been a wife before. The sun rose over Maplewood, casting golden light through the diner's cracked windows. Sarah, a 25-year-old waitress, watched as regulars shuffled in for their morning coffee, their faces familiar yet worn. Her heart swelled with pride for her cozy town, but also ached with the heavy memories of a childhood steeped in struggle. Married just days ago to Danny, the town's beloved mechanic, her dreams of a better life felt tantalizingly close, yet still just out of reach. Now, they were set to begin their 10-day honeymoon road trip, filled with excitement and unease that danced in her chest like fireflies. As they hit the open road, she clutched Danny's hand, thrilled to explore iconic American landmarks. Each new town whispered stories, each encounter dredged up emotions she thought she'd tucked away. The veterans who huddled at the diner shared hearty laughs, their eyes betraying a world of sacrifice and heartache. The elderly in the care home looked at each other with tender smiles, but quiet isolation, wisdom wrapped in layers of loneliness. Sarah felt a pull to them, a shared yearning that chipped away at her facade of contentment. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue, but it was at a charming town fair that everything shifted. The air was thick with laughter and excitement until Mr. Thompson took the stage. His words dripped with disdain for those from humble beginnings, and Sarah felt her stomach twist. Memories of her family's struggles rushed back, clashing against Danny's bright reputation. The air crackled with tension, the crowd murmuring in disbelief as she wrestled with her own identity. Did she have the courage to stand up for herself? Her chest tightened with frustration. Could she risk being the shadow of Danny's success? That night, Sarah received a midnight call from her mother, a voice secretly trembling with a revelation that pierced her heart. Excessive sacrifices made in silence unfolded stories of past hurts, of love and loyalty intertwined with unresolved pain. The weight of family secrets sank deep within her, unraveling everything she thought she understood about worth. Days flew by as her honeymoon dwindled to a bittersweet close. Torn between the love they shared and the daunting truths that now loomed over her, Sarah faced a heart-wrenching decision. Who was she if she couldn't find the strength to embrace her new life? Would she continue to hide, battered by judgment and fear? Or would she finally stand strong, confronting her past in front of their small town? As passion ignited within, she felt the undeniable urge to break free. What would her choice be? In a world filled with eyes upon her, the threshold of transformation beckoned. Would she redefine her marriage and inspire hope for herself and others, or would she slip back into the shadows? All that remained was the thunderous beat of her heart, echoing her need for decision as the clock ticked down. The days on the road blended into a tapestry of landscapes, yet Sarah felt the edges of her world closing in. Danny's laughter rang out like music, effortlessly brightening the mood even in the face of mounting fears. But each smile he flashed sent ripples of guilt through her. She wanted to share this joy, to let the light shine brighter, but shadows from her past loomed larger with every passing mile. One evening, they stopped at a quaint motel in a tiny town tucked away in the mountains. The walls were a faded beige, exuding a nostalgic charm that felt familiar and unsettling at the same time. As Danny tucked their bags into the room, Sarah slipped outside to breathe. The air was cool, and the stars blinked overhead, each one like a silent witness to her inner turmoil. What are we doing next? Danny's voice carried softly behind her. Sarah turned to see him leaning against the doorframe, an easy smile on his face, lit by the soft glow of the hallway light. It struck her then the fundamental difference between them. Danny was carefree, full of belief and excitement about the future. She, on the other hand, felt her dreams and hopes slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. I don't know, she admitted quietly, biting her lip. There's something I need to talk to you about. As she spoke, Danny's brow furrowed with concern. The air thickened with the gravity of her words. Sarah, you know you can tell me anything. What's on your mind? In that moment, she saw the trust in his eyes, the unfaltering support that had drawn her to him. Yet doubt shrouded her heart. What if sharing her truth fractured that bond? I don't want to keep secrets, she finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. I feel like I've been living in the shadow, scared to be who I really am. Danny stepped closer, his hand reaching out to cradle her cheek. You're not in anyone's shadow. You're my partner, and I love you just as you are. We can face anything together. His words washed over her like a balm. It ignited a flicker of the courage she so desperately sought. But what if I'm not enough? She murmured, the words spilling out like a secret she could no longer hold. What if the person you think I am isn't who I know? He interrupted firmly. You are enough, Sarah. You are more than enough. Something in the way he said it made her breath hitch. This was it. The moment where she could choose to step forward into the light or retreat into the shadows. The next morning, they turned their car toward a spring festival in a nearby town. The scent of blooming flowers filled the air, mingling with laughter and music. Sarah felt a surge of determination as they navigated the vibrant streets. It was time to embrace the sweet and the bitter, to reshape the narrative she had wrapped around herself for so long. As they wandered, Danny's hand snugly holding hers, Sarah spotted a stage where locals were gathering to speak. A fire ignited deep within her. They seemed so willing to share their stories, so ready to expose their fears and hopes. It was time for her to do the same. With each step closer, her heart raced in anticipation. Would she step into the spotlight and claim her truth? Would she finally speak up not just for herself, but for everyone who felt unseen? As they reached the edge of the crowd, Danny paused, his eyes searching hers. Are you ready, babe? He whispered, his voice calm yet electric. The noise around them faded, leaving only the sound of her heartbeat in her ears. In that moment, she realized it wasn't just about her anymore. It was about redefining the connections that mattered most, the love, the dreams, the powerful hope tethered in truth. As she took a deep breath, her decision crystallizing, a realization washed over her. This was not just a turning point, but the beginning of something profound. With a determined nod, she stepped forward, ready to claim her voice. What would she say next? The weight of anticipation hung in the air, full of possibility and change. Stepping toward the stage, Sarah felt every heartbeat thumping louder than the festival's lively music. It was an unexpected rush, mingled with exhilaration and fear, yet something vital pushed her forward. Danny kept her hand firmly in his, offering silent encouragement amid their swirling surroundings. As the first speaker poured out her story, raw and unfiltered, Sarah felt the words slip past her lips, words she had never dared utter before. They hung in the cool spring air, rich with vulnerability. It amazed her how the crowd listened, entranced by the speaker's journey through pain and triumph. It was a tapestry of emotions, woven together with threads of empathy and strength. Murmurs of understanding flitted through the eager crowd, creating a comfort she desperately craved. Slowly, Sarah began to comprehend her own yearning. It wasn't just about sharing her fears, it was about connecting, forming bonds that could lift her out of her isolation. Each voice that spoke their truth felt like a beacon, lighting the path toward her own revelation. When another person stepped up, Sarah felt a strange pull. She turned to Danny, heart skipped a beat. What if I did this? She asked, barely a whisper in the chaos around them. He smiled, eyes bright with unwavering faith. Then do it. Just speak from your heart. The simplicity of that idea stirred something within her, a mix of hope and courage flushing through her veins. She couldn't back down now. It was time to let the world see the part of her that had been hidden for too long. Just then, she spotted an old friend stepping away from the stage, waving her arms wildly, excitement etched across her face. It was Mia, someone who had been there since before Sarah's fears made her retreat into herself. Their eyes locked and Sarah's stomach twisted. Mia didn't know what Sarah had struggled with. She only knew the girl who had once danced fearlessly and laughed easily. What would she think if she found out about all the battles waged silently within her, but their history anchored Sarah? Memories of shared dreams sprang to life, simple conversations over coffee, long drives, late-night confessions. Mia would understand. She always had, even when Sarah had clung to her secrets. "Sarah!" Mia shouted, and the recognition pierced the noise, drawing attention. "What are you doing here?" Danny squeezed her hand tighter, his warmth shocking Sarah back to the present. The clarity struck her like a bolt of lightning. Mia, just like Danny, represented a connection she'd long been afraid to embrace fully. That bond could be a lifeline, a tether to pull her from the depths of her reluctance. "I'm ready," she declared, her voice rising above the whispers of the crowd. "I'm going to speak." As she shared her journey of fear, doubt, and the struggle to reveal her true self, the people around her leaned in closer. Each word felt incredibly liberating. There was an entire crowd embracing her story as if it were their own. Their faces mirrored her pain, and for the first time, she felt like she wasn't alone. After her story poured out, a hushed silence enveloped the crowd. Then, just as quickly, a rumble of applause erupted, echoing in her ears like the sweetest melody. Joy surged through her, and tears pricked the corners of her eyes, but what she didn't expect was Mia's warm embrace, pulling Sarah into a tight hug, offering unspoken support and love that wrapped around her like a shield. It felt incredible, like finally stepping into the sunlight after years in the shadows. Just as she ended her speech, the sun dipped low, casting a golden glow over the festival. It was a moment of triumph, but it also stirred new fears within her, questions of the deeper truths yet to be faced. As she stood there, absorbing the energy around her, another thought gripped her. What about the parts of her life that still felt unresolved? What about the memories she had buried beneath layers of silence? With the crowd's cheers still echoing in her mind and her heart racing, Sarah knew the real journey was only just beginning. Would she be ready to face the past that awaited her? In that moment of clarity, she realized there was much more to uncover. What other truths were hidden in the shadows, waiting for the light? The crowd's applause faded, yet Sarah felt a warmth blossoming inside her. She stood with Mia's arms still wrapped around her, feeling a mixture of gratitude and something deeper, something almost unnameable. The lights around them twinkled, casting a warmth that chased away the chill of her old fears. Mia pulled back, eyes glittering with unshed tears. "You did it. You really did it." Her smile was radiant, and for a moment, Sarah forgot her worries. "I'm so proud of you." But the pride didn't completely dissolve Sarah's unease. "What if they find out about what happened before?" she said, her voice dropping, worry creeping back in. "What if I fall apart again?" Mia's smile wobbled but held. "You're not that girl anymore. You just shared your story. You own it now. You're stronger than you think." The very idea sent a thrill through Sarah, chasing fear away momentarily. "Maybe," she whispered, feeling the pull of possibility tug gently at her heart. Danny approached, beaming like he just conquered a mountain. "That was incredible," he exclaimed. "You connected with everyone out there." Her heart swelled at his praise. "I couldn't have done it without you too," she replied softly. The understanding shared among them reminded Sarah that she didn't have to navigate this uncharted territory alone. "Let us celebrate," Mia suggested, pulling them both along. They wandered through the festival, laughter bubbling up as they marveled at stiltwalkers and colorful stalls draped in charming lights. Sarah felt more vibrant in this moment than she had in years, as if a new part of her had awakened. As they stopped at a food stall, the delicious scents overwhelmed her senses. But while Mia chatted animatedly about the best dessert they had yet to try, Sarah's gaze drifted across the crowd. People milled about, blissfully lost in their worlds. A thought circled back, would she be brave enough to share her past with her friends? Suddenly, a wave of panic gripped her. What if Mia wouldn't understand the parts of her life she had kept buried? Would revealing her truth tear them apart? "Mia, wait." The words slipped out before she could catch herself. Her heart raced as she felt Danny's reassuring presence beside her. Mia turned, brows furrowed in concern. "What is wrong?" Taking a deep breath, Sarah felt the ground beneath her shift slightly. "There's something else you need to know about me, about my past," she began, words once again heavy with the weight of her old secrets. Mia's expression softened. "Whatever it is, I promise I'm here for you." Tension coiled within Sarah, but encouragement surged with every beat of her heart. Could this be yet another opportunity for connection, another chance for acceptance? With the warm glow of lights encircling them, she felt the moment stretching before her, a pivotal turning point. As she opened her mouth to speak, a familiar voice rose above the crowd. "Sarah." Oh my gosh. It was Jessica, an old colleague from the job that had nearly drained her spirit. The memories of laughter, late nights, and the acceptance she craved hit her hard. Jessica's beaming face held familiarity, but how much had changed since Sarah last saw her? Would her old friend still recognize the person who had struggled fiercely against her own demons? The tension grew in Sarah's chest. She felt torn between the world she had newly embraced and the ghosts of her former self. As dread began to creep in again, Sarah knew she had a choice. Would she shield her truth from Jessica, or let the past collide with her present? With the crowd and her friends standing nearby, the moment brimmed with incredible potential. How would this reunion unfold? Would it lift her or plunge her deeper into her fears? She took a step forward, heart racing, pulse thrumming with uncertainty. The answer lay just within reach, but the truth was still waiting, perhaps more vivid and transformative than she could imagine. Sarah stepped into the pull of Jessica's joyful energy, the memories flooding her senses like the rush of a strong wave. "Jessica, it's been so long," she exclaimed, her voice slightly higher than usual, the weight of her past already hovering nearby like a shadow. Jessica danced closer, her arms wide open, and Sarah found herself swept into a tight embrace. The familiar scent of Jessica's floral perfume wrapped around her, awakening a rush of nostalgia. "I can't believe you're here. You look amazing." Jessica pulled back, her gray eyes sparkling with genuine delight. "I heard about your speech. Everyone's talking about how brave you were." "Thanks," Sarah murmured, a small smile breaking through as warmth filled her chest. Still, her fears lingered at the edge of her mind. Would Jessica see through her smile to the turbulent thoughts beneath? "What are you doing at the festival?" Sarah asked, desperate to keep the conversation flowing, a lifeline thrown in uncertain waters. The laughter and cheer of others washed over them, yet the conversation felt precarious. "I came to support my cousin," Jessica replied, animatedly gesturing towards a nearby booth. "But hearing you were speaking brought me here. I couldn't miss it." Mia and Danny exchanged subtle glances, as if gauging Sarah's comfort level. For a brief moment, the world narrowed around Sarah and Jessica, a bubble within the chaos of the festival. I really appreciate that." "It meant a lot to see you," Sarah said, searching for words that would bridge the gap between their past and present. Just then, the energy changed. Sarah pressed her lips together, a mix of gratitude and fear clawing for air within her. "Do you remember those late nights at the office?" Jessica's voice was nostalgic, a soft melody dancing in the air. "We really were a good team, weren't we?" "We were," Sarah agreed, a touch of sadness slipping into her tone. Those nights, while filled with laughter, were also shadowed by her darker moments, the struggles she still battled within. "You kept me going when things got tough." Jessica's gaze softened, yet something in her expression shifted, blurring the familiarity into something more cautious. "I'm so glad we both made it out okay. I thought a lot about those times, how hard it was for you." Sarah felt her heart skip, the vulnerability hanging between them, a thread waiting to be pulled. It wasn't easy. There were times I nearly drowned in it all." Mia stepped closer, offering Sarah a grounding presence. "You've come so far," she said, her voice a whisper meant only for Sarah. Jessica's brow furrowed slightly, her warmth growing more intense. "I'm here for you. Whatever the past was, I want to understand, I want to help if I can." This was the moment Sarah had feared, and within it lay the possibility of healing. Could she share the truth, the real story that had pushed her to the edge? She felt the tension ratchet up all over again, but it also sparked something within her, a desire for authenticity, for connection. I haven't been totally honest about how hard it was for me at work and everything else. She stumbled through her words, unsure, but fueled by the sincerity reflected in Jessica's eyes. Jessica leaned forward, intrigued, her gaze unwavering. Hey, you can tell me anything. I'm still that friend of yours with open ears. Sarah bit her lip, sensing the onlookers fade as she captured the strength threading through her friends. Here she was, about to unravel the layers she had closely guarded. But as the two women stood at the brink of this pivotal moment, another voice chimed in from behind Jessica. Sarah, I can't believe it's you. The familiarity of that voice sent chills down Sarah's spine, closer to chaos than she had allowed herself to feel today. She turned slowly, dread creeping back as a familiar face appeared. Tracy. Sarah's breath caught. Old emotions stirred to life, crashing over the walls she had carefully built. What would this encounter bring? Would revealing her past help her connect, or would it further complicate her journey toward acceptance? With every heartbeat echoing in her ears, Sarah knew this reunion was only the beginning of something much bigger and potentially much more terrifying. Tracy. The name slipped from Sarah's lips, a whisper laced with disbelief. Sarah had spent years trying to avoid this moment. But standing here now, it felt as if time had folded itself, shoving her back into the past like a relentless current. What are you doing here? Sarah managed, forcing her voice steady despite the shudder coursing through her. The laughter of festival-goers faded, replaced by the heavy thud of her heart. Tracy, with her warm brown eyes and familiar smirk, stepped closer. It's so good to see you. I had no idea you were back in town. Sarah felt Jessica's hand brush against hers, grounding her as she fought the waves of memory crashing in. Tracy had been a staple in her life once, but their friendship had crumbled amid the storm of personal struggles. How dare the past show up just when she thought she had begun to heal? Jessica cleared her throat, a bridge attempting to unify the sudden rift. Oh, you two know each other? Yes, from work, Sarah said, forcing a cheerful note into her voice, even as her insides twisted. Tracy and I were close. Tracy didn't seem to catch the hesitation. We were best friends. Remember all those late-night talks? I missed you so much, Sarah. Her expression shifted slightly, a hint of apprehension appearing amid the excitement. Yeah, I remember, Sarah replied, her heart racing. The memories felt like stepping on glass, beautiful yet sharp. It's been a while. The moment stretched, teetering on awkwardness. Jessica, sensing the shift, subtly squeezed Sarah's hand. Would you like to join us for a bit? We were just catching up. Sure. Tracy's enthusiasm was palpable, but Sarah could see the shadows flitting behind her bright smile. There was unfinished business here, a weight that had never been resolved. They settled on a nearby bench, the festivities swirling around them like a blur of color and sound. Mia and Danny exchanged glances, aware of the tension thickening the air. The vibrant festival now felt like a distant echo, the laughter muted against the storm brewing within Sarah. So, how have you been? Tracy asked, her tone earnest, probing for that buried connection. I heard about your speech. Everyone is so proud. Trying to get back on my feet, Sarah replied, her voice soft but firm. You know how it is. Yeah, I get it, Tracy nodded, her eyes narrowing slightly. I know things fell apart for you in Chicago. It must have been hard for both of us. This was the moment. The chasm between them widened, reaching for the unsaid words, the feelings left unacknowledged. Sarah's pulse quickened, the truth clawing its way toward the surface. Should she let it out or push it back down where it belonged? For an agonizing second, silence enveloped them. The weight of unspoken truths surrounded them, ready to shatter the fragile peace they decrafted. Are we really going to pretend nothing happened? Sarah finally blurted, the words bursting forth before she could pull them back. Tracy's expression flickered surprise, then something like regret. I was hoping we could just move past it. No, you don't understand, Sarah said, her heart racing. I need to say it. You left me hanging, Tracy. When I needed you the most, you vanished. Tracy recoiled, shock painted across her features. I was struggling too. You know that. I thought you'd be okay. You were always so strong. Well, I wasn't. A tear slipped down Sarah's cheek before she could stop it. They were raw wounds laid bare now, threads from the past unraveling before them. Sarah didn't recognize the person she had been back then the way she recognized this pain. I was drowning and you didn't see it, or you didn't care. Mia shifted uncomfortably, sensing the rising tides around them, while Jessica looked back and forth, tension crackling in the air. Tracy opened her mouth, but then closed it as if every word had turned to ash. Before Tracy could finish, the loud cheers from a nearby stage erupted, drowning their moment. The world outside surged on, while they remained locked in this painful space, anchored by their past, but desperately needing to find a way into the future. The truth felt close enough to touch, yet as both women grappled with the moment, another voice called out from the festival, blissfully unaware of the internal storm. Sarah. This time it wasn't just a voice, it was a blast from the past that would shatter what little ground Sarah felt she was standing on. Her heart sank as she recognized the shout. What now? What other pieces of her history would resurface, crashing into her present? The tension quivered like a taut rope, ready to snap. Sarah turned instinctively toward the voice, a cold dread washing over her. There, half hidden by the crowd, stood Greg, the man who had once made her heart race and her skin crawl all at once. His presence was like a thunderstorm after a long, quiet day. She could almost feel the energy crackling in the air as her mind spun with questions and fears. Sarah, he called again, weaving through the festival goers with a mixture of urgency and excitement. When he finally reached her, his smile faltered as he took in the scene, the awkwardness hanging between Sarah and Tracy, the palpable tension that had replaced the joy of the festivities. What is going on? He asked, his brow furrowing as he looked from Sarah to Tracy. Greg had always been the kind of guy who wore his heart on his sleeve, and right now, it was clear he sensed the choppy waters beneath the surface. Just a little reunion, Sarah managed, the words tasting bitter on her tongue. Tracy shot her a look that spoke volumes, a mix of hurt and betrayal. Wow, Greg. Great timing, she said, her voice laced with sarcasm. Maybe now isn't the best time, Jessica chimed in, her gaze darting between the two women, unsure of how to navigate this minefield. Greg's eyes darted back and forth, trying to piece together the fragments of a conversation that felt too raw and personal to involve him. I'm sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to say hi. I heard you were back. Yes, I came back. To heal, Sarah said, her voice betraying a quiver of vulnerability she hadn't intended to show. But clearly, the past followed me here. Tracy shifted in her seat, trying to regain control. Sarah, we were just reconnecting. I didn't mean to ruin your plans. Are you kidding? Sarah's voice raised a notch, caught between anger and regret. Plans? I didn't come here to reconnect with past versions of myself or anyone else. I came here to breathe and be myself again. Greg stepped closer, his presence a comfort wrapped in confusion. What is really happening here? You two were best friends. I thought being back home would mean you'd feel better. For a fleeting second, a flicker of the love they shared sparked between them, but then it faded like a mist. It's more complicated than that, Sarah admitted, feeling her voice tremble as she eyed Tracy. I thought we could move on from. What do you mean move on? Tracy interjected, her voice rising to meet the storm. You think I wanted this too? I didn't just disappear. I had my problems, Sarah. So many of them, and I didn't know how to help you when I needed help myself. And that's exactly the point, Sarah replied, tears pooling in her eyes, ready to spill over. We both needed each other, none of us got what we needed, and now she paused, frustration boiling beneath the surface. Now we're just here, awkward and unresolved. It doesn't feel fair. Mia and Danny stood back, their faces a storm of concern and disbelief. Jessica bit her lip, unsure how to bridge this fragile moment. The festival sounds dimmed, colors fading into the background as the weight of their raw emotions seemed to draw everything in closer, highlighting the distance that still lay between Sarah and Tracy. Just then, Greg's phone buzzed loudly, breaking the tension like a sudden clap of thunder. He checked it quickly, his demeanor shifting as he read. I need to take this," he stammered, stepping away before Sarah could respond. "Great timing," Tracy muttered, shaking her head in disbelief. "Tracy," Sarah whispered, a mix of pain and hope in her voice. "What do we do now? I can't keep pretending we didn't hurt each other." Tracy inhaled deeply, her guard finally slipping just a little. "Maybe it's time we face what happened, instead of letting it fester." But where do we even begin? They were teetering on the edge of something that could either tear their already frayed connection further apart or finally bring the healing they both so desperately needed. As they stared at one another, the festival around them felt like it was fading completely into nothingness. There was a shift in the air as if the universe was holding its breath for their next move. "Maybe honesty is the only way out," Sarah said softly. "But what do you say when the past is standing right in front of you, ready to wrestle with the truth?" Every heartbeat echoed that question, and somewhere in the distance, laughter resumed, oblivious to the reckoning waiting for them. What was the truth worth if it left everything hanging in the balance? The wind picked up, rustling the leaves of the nearby oak trees, as if urging Sarah and Tracy to make their move. The noise around them faded to a dull hum, the laughter and chatter of festival-goers no longer a distraction, but a haunting reminder of the joy that felt 3 worlds away. The atmosphere was thick with unresolved history, tension wrapping around them like a weighted blanket. "I don't want to lose you," Tracy finally whispered, her eyes glimmering with unshed tears. "We've come too far for that." "Then we have to start talking," Sarah replied, steeling herself against the wave of emotion crashing over her. "No more dodging the truth. We can't just shake hands and expect everything to go back to normal." Tracy winced at the word normal. It was a term that felt foreign now, one they had both abandoned long ago. The honest truth of it all settled heavily between them, an uninvited guest lingering in their minds, and every breath felt charged with its weight. As they shared a moment of silence, Sarah could hear the distant music of the festival, the upbeat tunes feeling inconsiderate to their situation. She looked around, seeing families laughing, couples spinning in dance, and friends knocking back drinks without a care. The contrast was heartbreaking. "Do you remember the summer we?" Tracy began but faltered, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah nodded. "The summer when everything changed." There it was. The unspoken moment they both dreaded. It was the summer that shredded their bond, turning them from inseparable friends to cautious strangers. It stuck out in her memory like an ugly wound. There was so much loss, so much blame. "We were kids, Sarah." Tracy's voice quaked with regret. "We didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to help you when you were losing yourself." Sarah felt the tears finally spill over, tracking warm trails down her cheeks. "I felt abandoned," she said, her voice breaking. "And I thought you didn't care anymore. I was hurting so much and I pushed you away, but it felt like you were already gone." "Please don't think that," Tracy rushed to say, stepping forward, her hands trembling slightly. "I never wanted to leave you. I was drowning in my own struggles, and I didn't know how to keep us both afloat." The knot in Sarah's chest loosened, hearing those words. There was a glimmer of hope in the darkness. It felt precarious, like they stood on a tightrope, but it was a start. "I was so angry at you for being so strong when I felt so weak. I didn't mean to come off that way." "It was just my way of coping," Tracy admitted, her voice a shaky breath. "I wanted us to be okay, but I didn't know how to be there for you when I needed someone to." Their shared insecurities hung between them, sparking a moment of clarity amidst confusion. For the first time, vulnerability replaced animosity, aching truth taking precedence over hardening walls. "Maybe we can still find a way to heal together?" Sarah suggested, her heart racing. Tracy's eyes glimmered, cautiously optimistic. "We owe it to ourselves to try, don't we?" Suddenly Greg returned, his face twisted in concern. "What is going on? You both look like you've just faced a tornado." But they didn't respond. Tracy and Sarah held each other's gaze, the world around them fading once more. "Maybe," Sarah whispered, "we should tell the full story, all of it, the good and the bad. If we want to break this cycle, we have to dig deeper." There's so much we haven't talked about, Tracy said, her courage replenishing. It's time we do something different. As they prepared to dive into a conversation that could change everything, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd, shattering the fragile bubble they were forming. It was a jarring reminder of the noise outside their burgeoning moment. And yet, there was a strength swelling between them, a promise that they would finally face their fears head-on. But just as they began to speak, Greg's phone rang once more, cutting through the atmosphere like a siren. He glanced at the screen, and the color drained from his face. I need to take this, he stammered again, and this time, the urgency in his tone sent a tremor through Sarah's heart. Greg, wait, she started, panic rising, but he was already halfway across the festival grounds, his back turned to them. Why did he look so alarmed? In this whirlwind of unresolved pain and unexpected rekindling, they were about to discover that the story they thought they knew could be about to shift once again. Do you think it's serious? Tracy asked, watching Greg's retreating figure. I don't know. But something tells me we're on the brink of something bigger, Sarah said, her heart pounding with a mix of dread and anticipation, and that question lingered in the air. What might be revealed next in the tangled web of their lives? The festival buzzed with life, but Sarah and Tracy were frozen in their own world, the laughter around them distant and muffled. Greg's hurried footsteps echoed in Sarah's mind like a countdown clock, the sense of urgency pressing on her chest. Something was wrong with him. Should we go after him? Tracy asked, her hands fidgeting at her sides, glancing at Sarah. No, let him handle it, Sarah replied, though her gut twisted with the need to understand whatever was weighing on Greg. We were finally about to talk. That's still more important, Tracy urged, taking a step closer. We can't lose this moment. The air felt electric between them, and Sarah could sense how fragile it was. Right. No more running. As Tracy smiled softly, Sarah swallowed her fear and nodded. You go first. Share whatever you want. Tracy took a deep breath, her chest rising and falling as if she were collecting air from the world outside the bubble they had created. Okay, I remember the nights we'd just talk for hours? She closed her eyes, lost in memories. We'd sit on the back porch, knees drawn up, dreaming about future boyfriends or stupid things like potluck dinners. We thought we had all the time in the world. Sarah felt a warmth spreading through her chest. Yeah, we were just kids. But then, everything changed so fast, Tracy said, her eyes glazing over. It felt like... I don't even know how to put it into words. The world got heavy, and I didn't know how to help you without drowning myself. The truth hung heavily, but Sarah saw the pain threading through Tracy's words. And all the blame. I was angry. Angry at you for leaving when I thought I needed you the most. But I was here. I always wanted to be here. Tracy's voice was a whisper, and the intensity in her gaze bore into Sarah's soul. I just needed to find my way back to you. For a heartbeat, they stood there, sharing that silent recognition that they both had drifted further than they should have. And yet now, they were on the edge of something more. So, how do we fix this? Sarah asked, her voice steadying with newfound resolve. Tracy reached for her hand, their fingers intertwining. We start fresh. We forgive ourselves. Maybe even try to be friends again? Really friends. Just then, a commotion erupted nearby, pulling Sarah's attention from their moment. Greg was back, but he wasn't alone. A woman stood next to him, her long hair flowing like an untamed river and her expression filled with turmoil. Sarah's heart raced as she recognized the look in Greg's eyes. It was fear mixed with shock. What happened? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't believe it's true, Greg panted, his gaze darting between the two women. This is Anna. And she just told me something that changes everything. Tracy's hand slipped from Sarah's grasp, and her eyes widened in surprise. What do you mean? I can't even. This can't be happening. Greg's voice trembled. His eyes shone with emotion, and Sarah realized that whatever was coming next would unravel the fragile thread they had started to weave. We need to talk about it, Anna said, her voice firm but shaky. It's time all of you heard the truth, and I don't know how to do this except to just say it. Sarah felt her breath catch. The air was suddenly laden with heavy, unspoken revelations. Each glance exchanged hinted at uncharted territory ahead. What truth? Tracy broke the silence, her voice trembling with anticipation. As Anna opened her mouth, the festival around them flickered into the background, and for the first time in too long, the weight of their histories felt lighter, as if something profound was about to shift. In that electric moment, Sarah realized nothing would ever be the same again. And as a new question emerged, one that would test their bonds even further, she couldn't help but wonder, what was the truth Anna was about to reveal? The air crackled with tension as Anna gathered her thoughts. The festival buzz dimmed behind them, a world of color clashing against the monochrome weight of the moment. I need you all to listen. There's something important, something that's been kept from you, she said, her eyes darting between Sarah, Tracy, and Greg, a storm of emotion swirling in her gaze. What could be so important? Sarah's voice wavered, heart racing. She felt a swell of uncertainty and dread, memories flashing before her like quicksilver. Was she ready for another truth to shake her world? Greg stepped closer, concern etched across his features. Whatever it is, we can handle it, he reassured. Yet, even his calm words didn't quell the whirlwind. Anna took a deep breath. You deserve to know the truth about us. About everything. The urgency in her tone stirred unease within Sarah's stomach. I'm ready, Sarah whispered, gathering courage. It was time. Life had pushed her to face not just the past, but all hidden truths buried under layers of hurt. And perhaps, in this revelation, there lay answers to her own struggles, a connection to heal those scattered parts. Anna met Sarah's gaze, a bridge forming between their shared histories. There was a reason I left town, a reason you didn't know. I didn't want to hurt you, but I needed to protect you from the chaos that followed me. What chaos? Tracy asked, her curiosity piqued but still laced with caution. With a shaky breath, Anna inhaled deeply, grounding herself as the moment unfolded. After everything you went through after Chicago, I didn't think you'd want me around to drag you down again. Did you think leaving was the answer? Sarah's voice emerged stronger, clearer. I needed you then, Anna. And it drives me crazy to think you thought disappearing was how to help. A flicker of regret flashed in Anna's eyes. I know, but I was scared. I was falling apart too. Her voice cracked under the weight of her admission. I realize now that running didn't protect you, it kept me in my own cycle of fear. Silence settled. Each word hung between them like a thread, fraying but not yet broken, yearning for repair. Anna, all these years, we thought you'd vanished without a trace. It hurts so much, Greg uttered, his voice heavy with emotion. We tried to pick up the pieces, but we never knew you were hurting too. Together, we could have faced this. Maybe that's the point, Tracy reflected, her eyes widening with understanding. This isn't just about our past. It's about the network we could have built, not just pain, but shared struggles and healing. Anna nodded, her expression earnest. I want to make this right. We can try again, but it needs honesty and courage from all of us. Courage, Sarah echoed, awareness dawning. It was time to unearth the layers of hurt. The words spilled forth, powerful and raw. This moment isn't just about you, Anna. It's about all of us reconciling our shared scars and knowing we're worthy of love, even when we falter. The festival atmosphere seemed to hold its breath, ready to envelop them, all the while the vibrant colors were an invitation in contrast to the depths of their truth. With a newfound strength, Sarah looked at each of them. I know we can break this cycle together. Let us rewrite our story, let us share our truths and free ourselves from the binds of past pain. Her declaration felt like a match striking a flame, igniting something deep within the gathering circle. Tracy's hand found Sarah's again, squeezing tight, as if both understood the feeling of being set free from chains that once held them fast. I've missed this, Tracy confessed, her eyes shimmering with tears. The connection, the laughter, even the struggle. I'm ready to untangle this. I am too, Anna chimed in, her voice wavering with emotion. Let us promise not to let fear dictate our lives anymore. We are stronger together. Greg nodded, his entire demeanor shifting into something hopeful. Together, we can embrace whatever comes next. I'm all in. As laughter returned to the festival around them, it felt lighter, filled with possibility. The shadows no longer suffocated but instead weaved gracefully around them, an acknowledgement of their journey, an acceptance of vulnerability. The weight of their stories didn't feel so heavy anymore, replaced by a hopeful anticipation. They laughed in the face of their struggles, grasping at the beauty of their connections. Only the beginning, right? Sarah smiled, relief washing over her and laughter bubbling forth. Each moment stitched them closer. Yes, the beginning. Tracy echoed, her laughter blending harmoniously with the sounds around them. And as they stood there, hearts open, a sense of liberation flowed through them, like spring sunlight chasing away a long winter. They knew what lay ahead would be difficult, intertwined with struggles, but together they felt momentum surging, ready to turn the page and rewrite their story anew. Each heartbeat resonated with the power of choice and connection, their bonds emerging not just from shared history, but from unity defiantly rooted in truth. Now, be a part of this journey. Hit that subscribe button immediately, don't wait another second. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and share your thoughts in the comments about Sarah's journey. You need to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation.